Welcome to Indie Music Podcast, episode 315. Hone it and own it. Indie Music Podcast now has a Patreon at patreon.com/indie_musiccast, and we invite you to become a member for exclusive benefits. For next to nothing per month, you could get members-only podcast video, early access to upcoming episodes, merch, and more. This morning, Matt and I get together for coffee and discuss managing your schedule and list of to-dos, going on an app diet, and choosing the system that works for you. Enjoy the show.
Good morning, Doug.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Getting situated.
Apparently, I bumped this.
Uh-oh. You know, I move mine out of the way and reset it every time, so I always have to check level.
This is not in my way, so I just leave it right where it is. I think that's okay.
It sounds good. How do I sound?
Hello, good morning. You sound really good. You always sound really good.
Oh, you sound good too. Must be warmer in your studio.
That's subject of, our listeners may be like, man, you guys don't sound that good.
Oh yeah, well, we didn't ask.
Yeah. Now, what was that? Warm?
Yeah, I said it must be warmer in your studio. You are without jacket and without hat.
Yeah. It's still chilly, but it's a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah,
sun's out. It's a beautiful day here today. So,
well, that's good. I got to tell you, in that jacket that I complimented you on last week,
yeah,
made a lot of rustling noise.
Oh, did it?
Probably not a good podcast jacket. I noticed in post. I was like, "What is that noise?" I'm like, "Oh, that's that windbreaker that looks so nice, but didn't sound as nice as it looked." Oh well.
Well, let's see, man. Man, I can't believe it's like Saturday morning already. This.
Oh, I know.
I don't know about you, but my week, like, it's just like whirlwind, and I don't even know how I got here.
Mine was a little the opposite. It was like the big roller coaster, and I thought yesterday was Saturday because by Tuesday it already felt like Wednesday. It was one of those weeks for me. It's like I was just off by a day all week, and
again.
Yeah, it's kind of like that lately. Seems like just so many different things going on that it really kind of makes it hard to. I'm one of those guys that drives by landmarks, not by directions in specific. Like, I drive down and then turn right at the Safeway and then turn left
sure,
at the Shell station. So I think that I must also track my time by landmarks. And when there's nothing to hang my hat on, I lose my bearings.
Yeah, I think calendars are good for that.
Yes. Calendars are good for that
if you
have more than one.
Do you wear a watch?
I did, and it gave me a rash, so I had to
really
stop. Yeah, I'm sensitive to certain metals and plastics and things. Which is truly unfortunate.
But you carry a phone, right?
Oh, I carry a phone most of the time. Yep.
It has like the day on it, right?
No, dude, it's a Nokia brick. And I text like this.
Where you have like ABC on
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta hit it like 2 times.
Kids today, they don't understand the pain of the texting when you had to type each number 3 times.
Yeah, with big like kind of rubbery plastic.
Yes. Yeah, but those things
number
are durable
buttons.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know in this day and age, there's not really any good excuse to lose track of time and lose track of days and lose track of your to-dos.
Hey, what's that up in the upper right-hand corner of your computer?
Upper right-hand corner. Here?
No, actually on your screen. Isn't that Isn't that the date and time?
Oh, shut up. Yes. And since I spend about 13 hours a day on a computer, you'd think that that would not escape me.
So just having the calendar isn't enough. It's actually
Right.
being cognizant.
Cognizant.
Thank you, of having the calendar.
Yeah. Well, in my
And
case, it's you got to put the technology to work for you, right? That's what it's
yeah,
there for. You got to set and you got to set reminders, and you got to simplify. And part of the problem, I think, for me with calendars, to-do lists, and I did this once, I want to say a year ago. I went on an app diet, and I took a notepad and I wrote down all the different apps that I use regularly, and then I looked for redundancies. I'm like, oh well, I use Thunderbird, but I also use Gmail. Okay, so Thunderbird's gone, and then I use Evernote, and I use, whatever, Google Docs and other stuff, and okay, Evernote's gone. I mean, I looked for redundancies, kind of like eliminating stuff so that I could streamline personal my personal workflow. And that did help, but I think I need to do that again, because once you start having to-do lists on paper and to-do lists on Trello and to-do lists, in your task manager or whatever, and then you have multiple calendars, and it starts to be like, where do I look for this information? What's the definitive source of this?
yeah, yeah. That's interesting, because I do keep separate calendars for by context, and but my personal calendar, I subscribe to my other calendars on.
Oh.
So I see all my events in one calendar, but I don't manage all my events in one calendar, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So like any music podcast, calendar for interviews and things like that is on its own calendar, and
right.
and I log into that account to create meeting invites and whatever, or whatever the case may be, that anything calendaring related for that. But I don't want to depend on knowing what's going on for the day. So not editing, but reading. And so then I consume those different things into one place for reading, what's going on today. And so that's the way I do it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's something that I must have dropped from my process along the way, is the daily check-in, what's coming up today.
Oh yeah.
I think that would help a lot, because I do that weekly, like, okay, what do I need to do this week? And what do I need to do today? But I guess I dropped the calendar review. What meetings are coming up? What did I miss?
Now, like with Slack, if like with let's say Outlook integration in Slack, then you'll get your meeting updates in Slack. So you'll get notifications there that, and that usually is like 15 minutes ahead of time. You got a meeting coming up,
right?
Or whatever. But I think you can configure that, and then you can actually join your meetings directly from Slack, which is like, so I use that a lot.
That's a great idea. I mean, I live for meeting notifications now, and reminders. And whenever I set myself up an event in my Google Calendar, I always make sure that it has a meeting reminder. And that's not just for meetings with other people. That's for just things that I set myself, like singing practice and things that I want to make sure happen regularly or on a specific day. I will put that in there, and then I will put a event reminder, because for some reason it doesn't seem to do that by default. An alert ahead of time, but I need that alert. I need it to pop up and tell you have singing practice in 30 minutes, and then I can move it. I have been better about that.
I think you can set up a default so it does it automatically. Like 15 minutes is a default on mine, but you can change it. But it always has a reminder. Now, whether or not you get the reminder depends on where you're receiving those notifications, but But I do like integration. So if there's a possibility, and I like integrations with Slack. So if there's a possibility of having Slack update, because Slack's open for me all the time,
Right.
and I have it on my phone too, so those notifications will hit me if I'm not at my computer. And sometimes it results in multiple notifications for the same thing, but I'm okay with that. And I'm like OCD on like red things on my screen, you know. So I've got to resolve any red notifications.
I got to tell you, this is a little pet peeve of mine. Is the UI problem with the alerts that pop up on a Mac. It's very difficult. You can't just shove them aside easily. You have to like position your mouse directly over this tiny little X to make it go away.
Oh, you can click and then just flick them off the screen.
Sometimes it doesn't let me.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, the old growl notification. I remember
the growl,
installing growl before those notifications.
I had that for a day and I was like, nope. Go away. Stop notifying me about everything. That's just an interruption. But yeah, so Slack notification is a good idea if you have Slack open all day. I have calendar on my phone, so it just pops up. I mean, it goes and it just like alerts me on my phone when I have something coming up.
Yeah. Now, one thing I haven't done very good at is integrating so the Apple Calendar. That and I do use it for some things, but with all the other calendars, it is hard to, for me anyway, to use Apple Calendar. So I kind of don't use it at all. So we've got the Google Calendar. Google Calendar is where it's at for me. You got Outlook Calendar and stuff like that, but I'm not a heavy Outlook user. It's real specific stuff, but that's nice because Outlook integration with Slack works beautifully. So
which considering that they're trying to make you move to Teams for everything, it's a little surprising, but yeah, good for them.
Not a big Teams fan.
Oh, I'm definitely not a Teams fan, but
it does work, but not a big fan.
It's one of those applications that tries to do everything and doesn't do any of them well.
Yeah,
in my opinion. They're just trying to eat everybody else's lunch. I think I mentioned that before. One thing that's important though, if you're going to do notifications for something like meetings, is to make sure that you don't have notifications set for everything, because then you're training yourself to either be constantly interrupted, or you're training yourself to ignore notifications, and then you're going to miss something.
Yeah.
So you make sure, like, I only have notifications on my phone turned on for actual SMS messages, for calendar alerts, and for Slack, and nothing else on my phone like actually buzzes or notifies me. Well, I mean, except when the phone rings, but that's like,
yeah,
I don't need my auto insurance, my auto warranty renewed, so I ignore those.
Now, to-do lists a little bit different, but kind of on the same line. I think we're both Trello fans.
Yes,
I think it's great. Some people just swear at it rather than buy it, but
that's a good way to put it.
But it really works. When we first started using Trello, I was like, what the heck is this? And I couldn't kind of figure out the whole paradigm of the different boards and things like that,
and the cards.
But now it just really makes a lot of sense. And I use it with clients. We have I have set up projects with boards and the projects that have
milestones,
stuff that we haven't done, and stuff that is in progress, and stuff that's completed, and it gives an opportunity for collaboration in each track that we're working on. And communicating back and forth, so that like comments about things and on a specific track are all in that specific track. It really works good.
Nice.
and then also get sign off, because you have check boxes where where the client checks this off, that's done.
Okay.
And so then I've got that documentation says, no, we got that done. Or this is still to do,
Mhm.
and then creating tasks within that particular item on the board and things like that. So it gives me a really nice visual. I can see as I move things across, because I flow left to right of of not started to completed.
Yeah.
And that's the way I like to do it anyway. And it gives me a nice view of kind of where we are in the entire project, like if it's like an album project or something like that. So
Mhm.
I really like using it that way.
That's very cool. Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I knew you were kind of all in, but I didn't know you were all in
Yeah, yeah.
on Trello. That's great. I'd love to see
And
a
I've got
screenshot
really
of
good
that.
feedback from my clients who are using it too, and which most have, when they come in and we do this, haven't ever used Trello before,
Okay.
and the ramp up has been really easy. Now, they don't need
Hmm.
to know much. I just kind of give them a little bit of guidance as to um, here's how you comment, and and things like that. You don't have to do much. We're just going to communicate here, and it's gone really easy. So
Oh yeah, that sounds a lot better and more efficient than a bunch of email back and forth or
yeah,
DM back and
and
forth.
there's notifications there, so I know when there's a comment. I've got it on my phone, and as well as I just log into the web app. But so I really like that. It's as far as to-do lists go, it is kind of a to-do list on steroids. So
Right.
if if you're just wanting a simple to do that you can check some things off, put some dates on when they're due, this is way more than that. So
Mhm.
and there's plenty of lightweight to do applications out there,
Sure.
little web apps or whatever.
Well, yeah, and
um
there's stuff that just natively comes on your phone. You'll always have a to-do list or something app,
yeah,
and you just have to pick one and stick with it. Is really what it is.
yeah, I've actually I've written a couple of them over the years,
Oh yeah.
just for fun, because they're an easy app to work on or practice,
Yeah, yeah.
stuff with. And the I've never been happy with Google's efforts at to-do list. I
No, I agree with you.
haven't ever really liked it much.
Like of all the
But
things, because they
that's a
do so
basic.
many things well, and that seems like such a simple thing to cover, but yeah, I've not liked their effort
I've used
in
it.
that regard.
I've used it for like some home project planning things before,
Mhm.
and it's okay. I guess as far as I would consider that to be a lightweight yet a little clunky to-do list. And
Yeah.
um, I think it's at one time they were thinking about just getting rid of it altogether, but I think it's still hanging around. So
Yeah, for me, the problem is with a to-do list is that it's all this stuff is about friction, right? Either eliminating friction, right? So it has to be easier to use than writing it down on a piece of paper and checking it off.
yeah,
And if it's not easier to use than that, then I'm not going to switch to that. You know what I mean?
yeah. Now another option, like if you're on iOS, is you could use the Notes app, and
Yes, people
you
do
can
that.
use the checkbox feature, which is in your text formatting options, I think. And so
Right.
you can actually add a checkbox, and it is clickable. So you can create and there's no notifications, or there's nothing like that.
Hmm.
It's just a note that you can go to, and you can kind of a low tech way uh, to see at a glance what your
Yeah.
next task is and check it off when you're done. So I've used that
That
before
is the
too.
thing I like about having it on a piece of paper, which I typically do, is that I can just put the pad down and it's just sitting there. I don't have to go to my phone, unlock my phone, click on an app, go to my thing. It's like it's right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a friction point. But what I like what you said about the Trello board is back to what I was saying originally. It's a single point of reference. So you've created a system being a repeatable set of actions that lead to a predictable outcome, which is something that we like to integrate into everything we do
Mhm.
to make our flow more efficient, right? So what you've created is a system that provides a single point of reference for you and your client for any given project.
Yeah.
and there's no emails. You're like, wait, where did I see that? Is that an email? Was that an instant message? Was that a text? Where did I see that reference? And you have it all right there in one spot. And I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yes, I like that. As far as and so it kind of ends up being a project management tool in that way,
Right.
you know? So,
Yeah, I started doing a similar thing in HubSpot, which is where I keep my client information.
uh-huh.
And that's another kind of all-in-one thing for HubSpot. You can do, you can email from HubSpot, and you can set up landing pages, and you can keep your client database and track notes and track to-do lists. And I've been trying to integrate that because I like to have my clients all in one place. And I don't want them on my, hanging out on my phone or wherever. I want them all in one spot with their email addresses and blah, blah, blah. So what I do is I use that for project tracking. Project comes in, and then I track its progress across. But I like the idea that you have of having an interactive one where you share with your client that they can help check boxes or write notes directly in there.
Yeah. I empower them to say when it's done, and or when it's not, and if there's work that needs to be done, or it's also a place to discuss in context of the specific thing that we're talking about before we even get started, and have written notes that are logged there, so I can go back. It's easy to go back and refer to those because I pull that up as to work on that element of the project. So there's really no negatives that in that process for me. I really like it. The idea of working in HubSpot is attractive to me as well, although you don't have the collaborative feature other than email.
Right.
And so it's a little bit more one way. But I do like that because then you've got your customer contact records, that you can go back and refer to and things like that. But either way, HubSpot is underused for me, and but everything about it is attractive.
And they keep adding features and making it easier to use. Like every time I go back to it, it's like there's some new feature that they've added, and I'm just using the free version, and yet it's still very full featured.
Same.
But what I've done is adopted the sales pipeline section for project tracking.
Oh,
so I've made columns in what is supposed to be the sales pipeline. I've made columns for project milestones. So on radar, project started, in progress, waiting to be approved and paid. So I'm tracking projects in there, but it sounds like you're doing that in Trello and it's interactive. So I like that.
Yeah.
So for me, something like that, I'm actually, now that you've mentioned, I'm thinking about testing that out because it sounds like it would solve some of my issues. One of the things for me that is a barrier to adoption is the idea of kind of what I was saying about the to-do list. It has to be easier than doing it whatever way I do now, right? There has to be it has to not feel like make work. It has to not feel like I'm doing extra work now to try to make my life easier. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is that you're going to have extra work in setting up so that you can have less work.
I'm okay with an extra work for a ramp up period and a process build out. But if it starts to feel like you're doing more work than you were before trying to make something efficient, then that feels like a diminishing return.
So here's the deal. So I have a template. I have a customer project template that I use in Trello. Okay. And it just stays there. And whenever I have a new project, I just clone the template. And then I inside that whole Trello template is the boards. And then I can clone. I have like an EP mastering. I can't think of it. What it's called. And is it a board? The board is the whole thing, right?
The board's the whole thing, and then a column is a
card. Sorry.
Card.
Yeah, and so I've got an EP card, I got an LP card, I got a single card, And then, so I can create a customer project board. And then I, from that template that already has EP, LP, and singles in the to-do column. And then I just clone those for whatever is applicable to that project, and then put the names on them. And so I did all the setup once, and then, setting up a new project now is a 5-minute thing. For an entire album, really, I mean, it's maybe 6 minutes, so,
6 minutes and 30 seconds.
If the names of the songs are a little longer, I have to type a little bit more, so, but yeah, so I can set up that and invite a client if they haven't done it before, real quickly, and then whatever, it's easy to ramp them up, and just give a quick demonstration of what we're doing and how we're using it. And then I can also give, I use colors, so we have different colors meaning different things along the way.
You do this over Zoom? You have a Zoom with the client and show them how to do it?
Oh, actually, once they got in there, we were generally just chatting in Trello. And but yeah, anyway, any communication works. It could be, it could be phone or Zoom or however you want. And if you need to, I've never had to do a screen share before. Everybody's just picked it up and started running with it. So that's why I've liked it, because it's been easy for clients who haven't ever used it before to just pick up and start running with it. So
well, yeah, to me, that's always been the beauty of Trello, is that it's so simple. And at first you kind of look at it and go, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But that's because you can use it in any way. You can use it's so simple that you can use it any way you want, because it really started out as basically an electronic version of the whole sticky note Kanban board. You take your sticky note and you write your task, and then you move it to the next line, and then you move it to the next line. But
yeah, by
making it, kind of like modular, and then like, here's a framework, run with whatever you want to make out of it. To me, that's the elegance and the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And it's free.
It is. And we use it for the podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
And it integrates with Slack, which is really nice, because then when we complete items,
then you get 20 notifications. You get
20 notifications
because they're like, I'll check this off, check this off, check this off.
Because some of us wait until they're all done a week later and do them all at once.
Bzz, bzz, bzz. I'm like, oh, somebody just did all their Trello stuff.
But you love it when that happens.
I'm not complaining. Check more boxes.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, finish that real quick. I'm almost there.
Oh, yeah. I do need to go on an app diet. I do need to kind of go, okay, I'm doing too many things in too many places. Bring it all home. And some of it's because you dabble in a workflow and you're like, let's just try this on for size and see if this works for what I do. And then how sometimes it's like an IT-ism. The workflow, the workaround becomes the solution, because once the process works, you don't need to re-seek a better solution, because it's already in place and you have other things you got to work on.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes this is all like Frankenstein. Dabbling becomes a workflow, and then you need to go back and go, okay, let's re-streamline this, because now you're fractionated again. You got to bring it all home.
Yeah, I guess after some time, if you looked at your phone, and if yours is set up like mine, apps you haven't used in a while end up kind of getting. I have it set up so that inactive apps kind of get offloaded. You can download them again if you want to use them again, but I use that as an indicator of I'm not really using that. I'm going to delete it, or at least to give me that thought, because if I keep everything. I'm OCD about it, so I don't have just like a bunch of screens of icons. I have folders on my phone, and with stuff in it for relevant for whatever it's entertainment or it's business or my reading. I got a music folder for different things, and when I go into those folders, I can see at a glance that this this application's been offloaded. Do I still want to keep it in here? And I don't really go through and do that, but as in my daily activities, if I go into my music folder and I see, I haven't used, I got 3 metronomes in here and I haven't used these, you know what I mean?
I've done that. Yep.
So
yeah. I'm at the point where I only have 2 screens on my phone, like screen A and screen B.
Yeah, me too.
And anytime I install anything and it goes to screen C, it really bugs me. So then I have to move it somewhere.
Yeah, screen C is out, man.
It's out.
No.
Nope. See, they got to go to. Okay, now
you need more than 2 screens. You need to go on an app diet.
There you go. You need to go on an app diet. I do hate how, like, of all the things that the iPhone does well, the one thing that I can't stand is the way it doesn't let you move app icons around very easily without just like blowing away your carefully orchestrated
yes, things
listing.
shift around and
everything moves. Like
it's like trying to play that, that game where you like shift the little squares around to try and put the puzzle together. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Oh yeah, because I have it very carefully set ergonomically to what I use the most with which finger. And
yeah, this is my left thumb applications.
Right.
This is my right thumb applications.
When I go to move one thing and it moves 24 things without me wanting it to, it drives me bananas.
Also, having to drag off the second screen to the first screen is not that great because you got to hold it, get it over there, and the thumbs are kind of big. And if I get it on the left side of it, then I can't get it all the way over there.
You got to do it in stages. Move it to one screen, then move it to the next screen, and then move things back. It should be a 30-second process, not a 10-minute process of getting everything back the way you wanted it to. You're listening, Apple, fix that. That's one thing Android does better, at least. But yeah, folders are great. It just helps you clean stuff up.
That's how.
And that's a process. That's another process.
It helps you look like you've got stuff cleaned up.
Yeah. Sometimes that's important too. It's important to look professional.
I just hate like running around trying to find like a single icon, in a sea of application icons,
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, I have mine organized in a very specific way. And it's a process, it didn't start out organized like that. It's like, okay, I'm going to move this here because I use this more. I'm going to get rid of this because it's taken up screen real estate and I don't use it hardly ever, but I want to keep it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all a process of honing your workflow and, getting things the way that it works for you best. Right.
Hone it.
Hone it.
Hone it.
Hone it and own it.
All right.
I think we covered that one.
Yeah. Listeners, hone it and own it.
Hone it and own it. Love it. Yeah.
Is that the
so
title?
It poured rain
I like that
last
title.
night,
That's a really good clickbaity title. Hone it and own it. I'm going to use it.
Yeah, we had a storm blow through, so my yard work plans are kind of off the menu now. Because everything's soaking wet, so I can't move along. So I think I'm gonna spend some time working on my workflow instead.
Yeah, see, just like you, to take the harder job first, so arguably. All right, everybody, have a great week. Enjoy your Saturdays.
Yeah. Peace out.
All right, talk to you later.